Hey, it's Michael Zapersky here. Hope you're having a great day. I got quite a few comments and also messages about my last video where I just put out a question, which really was, would you like to know how we've been able to run $1 million consulting business while still traveling a lot? And so in my case, when I say traveling, I mean traveling because you want to, not traveling because you have to. And so in the last 12 months or so, I've traveled for about 5 months with my family in different countries and cities around the world. So here is today I'm going to share with you the first principle. There's 6 principles that we've used in our business to be able to run a successful business and still have a lot of freedom, time to travel, time to do on hobbies, family time, like whatever's meaningful for you, right? This is what we've been doing. So number 1 is a simple business model. This is a very, very important principle. In our case, we have just 2 to 3 like core offerings in our business. We don't have 10 service offerings. We don't have even like 5 or 6 or 7 different things that we're focusing on and that we need to coordinate, because like this is what I've really observed in the marketplace is that a lot of people believe that in order to grow, you need to add more services, add more products. You need to build more of this and build more of that in order to grow. But for the type of business that is meaningful for me, which means having a lot of time to spend with my family, not just locked up in some office, like working with my nose to the keyboard until I can't, concentrate any longer. That doesn't sound like fun to me. I want to be able to work closely with clients, add a lot of value, and still have a successful business with a lot of freedom. So having a simple business model is key, because what I've seen, really to be able to grow your business, it's not about addition, it's about subtraction. The most successful businesses that I've actually analyzed typically are very, very focused. They don't try and add a lot of things, especially early on, until they've reached like a really critical level of success. They remove a lot of stuff. They've simplified their product. They've simplified their service offering so that they really are very, very focused. And that means that you can be more focused, that you can be more confident and more clear about what you're offering, because you don't have a lot of complexity. You don't have a lot of baggage. You don't have to try and decide, well, do I offer this thing to that person or that thing to that person? Or, which of these 10 things should I put it forward? Which of these 10 things should I try and focus on my website? Because that's a lot of distraction. So you can run a very successful $1 million business, even 7-8 figure business, with just having 2 or 3 core offerings. And that makes it a lot easier for you to know what you're offering to the marketplace. It makes it a lot easier as well for you to be able to decide, like, where do you put your focus and what do you improve on? Because if you have 5 or 10 different things that you have to try and scatter yourself to improve, like, which one do you improve first? It's really hard to make significant improvements and add more value to anything that you're doing if you're all over the place. So principle number 1 that we've used consistently that has really helped us is a simplified business model. And again, you don't need many different products or services to run a successful business. We've been able to achieve this with just 2 to 3 that we focus on consistently. We're always working to improve them, to add more value for our clients, but also allows us to get really, really good at them. Right? If you're doing a lot of different things, it's hard to get really good at any one of those things because you're spending so much time on many different things. So we focus on just a few, get very, very good at them, and continue to improve and to improve and to improve on them, which allows us to kind of reach the level where you become world class. Like you're achieving mastery because you're very, very focused. That principle has really helped us. And I think these days, so many of us are surrounded by so much noise in the marketplace, so many opportunities, so many options. Almost every day, certainly every week, we get people saying, hey, would you like to partner with us on this? Can you promote this thing for us? Just a lot of different offers, a lot of different opportunities. And these opportunities could be really good. They could certainly add more revenue to our business, but in the short term, not in the long term. And so by saying no, right, subtracting a lot of opportunities that could be good, but they're not the right ones, we've been able to stay very focused to consistently achieve and make progress towards our vision and goals for the period that we're focusing on. And it's worked out well. It's been really efficient for us, really effective for us. And that is the number 1 principle. So here's a bit of a takeaway for you that just maybe a question to consider. What is your business model right now? How many different services do you have? How many different product offerings do you have? And is it too complex? Could you maybe strip away some of the things that aren't working very well for you? Like really get focused on the ones that are creating the most revenue, the most impact, and put aside all the other ones that aren't. Give that some thought. Well, principle number 2 is team and support. This is really important. I've found, and I've kind of seen with clients as well, to be able to get to that next level in your business. And in our company, so we have, for example, Vincent, who handles a lot of our customer, we call it customer happiness or customer support, but also handles our technical side of the business. Then we have Tsavo, who does a lot of our content, assists with marketing and other areas related to that. And then Sam, my cousin and business partner, who does client enrollment, does goal setting and mindset work with our clients. And we also have a few coaches, 3 coaches right now, who assist in some of the work that we do, who are actually clients who have gone through our programs and have now achieved real success in their businesses as well. So, that's kind of our team. And in addition to that, we also have a whole bunch of contractors and different people that we work with who are experts in their own areas. We don't necessarily need their expertise like every single day all the time, but we tap into their expertise on a very regular basis. And that really rounds out our team. But here's the thing. You don't need to go out and hire a big team. You don't need to bring people on full time right away. You can actually just do it gradually. But the key thing that has allowed me to be able to travel a lot, to have a lot of time to spend with my family, is that we've set up a team. We have a network of support. So I don't have to worry about, an email's come in and I need to respond to it like at this exact moment, because I know that there's someone there to support that. I don't need to worry about, I've recorded this video, like now what happens with it, because I have a team that can help with that. So my suggestion to you is, regardless of what size business you're in right now, look at how you're currently spending your time and ask yourself, are there certain tasks, certain activities that you yourself don't need to do? Identify the ones that you are doing frequently yourself and remove yourself from them by getting someone in to help you. And that, again, does not need to be a full-time employee. It can be a contractor. It can be someone part-time initially. It can just be like a few times a week or a month or whatever it is, but take that off of your plate. And what you'll find over time, what I've found over time, is that as you do that, it becomes very clear which of those activities and tasks happen very often, and then which it makes sense to bring someone on more full-time or in a part-time capacity or contractor or as an actual employee. And then once you've done that, right, now you're creating this team. But you can do it in a very inexpensive way to start if you're just like a solo consultant or you're just kind of getting started. But it allows you to gradually build up. And what you're going to also find is you're going to have a lot more freedom, which leaves you a lot more time to spend on high value tasks and working with your clients and working on the things that really move your business forward, as opposed to the lower value tasks, the ones that maybe you're not as good at, or the ones that just aren't as beneficial or valuable for your company. So that's principle number 2. It's all about building a team and having a support network around you that can help you to run your business. Doesn't have to cost you a lot of money, doesn't have to take you tons of time to set up, but it's something that will really benefit you going forward. And if you want to be able to run $1 million consulting business and have plenty of time for what's meaningful for you, whether that's travel, hobbies, family time, then putting this into practice will really help you. So the third principle is about process and systems. We've put into place some really great processes and systems. We're always looking to add more and to improve, but here's what we've done inside of our business, just so you kind of have a sense of some of the things that we've done, right? Can't cover them all in this video. I want to try and kind of keep it short and to the point. Right? No fluff, just kind of give it to you quickly. But one of them, for example, is onboarding. So when we bring on a new client, we have a process, we have a system of how that gets done. There's some manual components to that, but there's also a lot of automation that's now connected to that. And so there's consistency, where previously we'd have to send out a whole bunch of emails manually and manage a whole bunch of things manually. Now we have a large portion of that is done automatically. So there's automation involved, makes it a lot easier. The client still has a great experience, and it makes it a lot more efficient and effective for us. Another one is scheduling calls. So for example, actually just getting a call coming in right now, but I'll pick that up later. Another one is, so I mentioned scheduling calls, right? Rather than doing back and forth with someone to try and figure out like a time for a meeting or a time to have a conversation, we've used, as probably you might likely use, and if you're not, you certainly should, a link to an online calendar. So that allows people to see when I have availability or when someone on my team has availability to have a conversation. Makes it a lot more efficient, a lot more effective. These are like little things that you might think, well, yeah, that's just something small, but it really does add up. Another one. So I was talking with a client recently. We had an event, a mastermind event for our highest kind of level clients in Toronto. And he was like, how do you do this? Like that's really surprising is what he told me. And I didn't really think anything of it, but here's what I'm talking about. When we do our podcast, so the Consulting Success podcast that goes out every week, one of my conditions for doing this podcast was that I could just jump on, interview our guests, or talk myself if it was kind of like a solo cast, and that was it. I wouldn't have to do much else. And so that's the way that we've set it up. We have a system in place for it. We have a process in place for it so that when the podcast is recorded, it gets uploaded to a Dropbox folder. And then we have a team that does all of the editing. It does the posting. It does the transcriptions. It puts up the blog post. Images go up, distribution, all of that's done. And same for like finding guests for our podcast. We have a lot of people reaching out to us directly saying, hey, I've been a successful consultant for many years, whatever, we'd like to come on to the Consulting Success podcast. And certainly we always welcome that and we consider those people. But we also have a company that goes out and finds potential guests for us and also helps to get me placed on different podcasts. So there's lots of these different services or part of internal teams that can help you to create systems and processes to manage it. And so that's been a really big part of what we do, because if we didn't have these in place, it would really mean that we have to do a lot, or I'd have to do a lot of these things myself. Like I'd have to, record the podcast, and I'd have to upload it myself, and I'd have to then go and edit it myself, and I'd have to, put up an image for it and have to get a transcription. And like there's so many little moving pieces, and it might seem like, oh yeah, that's just small. It doesn't take me that long. But when you actually add up how long it's taking you, like by compounding, whether it's done every day or every week or every month, it's a considerable amount of time. And that's just one thing, right? You look at many things, like everything that you're doing in your business, and it really can make a big difference. So just my suggestion, my encouragement, kind of my respectful offering to you here today is look at what you're doing consistently in your business. What can you build better systems and processes around? And make sure that you start to implement those. Leverage automation, leverage tools, leverage services that can still allow you to connect in a human way to your clients, but just making that process a lot more efficient for you so that your business runs smoothly, because that will create a lot more freedom for you and also allow you to just run a more successful business, which is also what is, I'm sure important to you as it's important to us. All right, so there you have it. That's principle number 3. The 4th principle is a really important one, and it's what I call prioritize. This is all about prioritizing your most important work and ensuring that you get that work done first. I think a lot of us know that there's certain things that would really help us to move our business forward, but we don't take action on them because maybe they're scary. Maybe they're things that we haven't done before. Maybe there's some fear around them. As an example, for a lot of people, picking up the phone and calling a prospective client or following up with a prospective client is really scary. The fear of rejection, the fear of being too pushy, just the uncomfortable nature of it. Yet that can be really important to do. Another one might be creating like a certain piece of content that is really going to be important for you, but you hesitate on it for one reason or another, right? So whatever it is that you have identified that's really going to help you to move your business forward, like the highest valued activity, get that done, and get that done first in your day. Prioritize. Because you can spend your time doing 10 things in one day, but if those 10 things aren't the most valuable, if they're not high value, if they're not kind of like highest level of effectiveness for you, then that's not time well spent. I think a lot of people, and I see a lot of people these days, get confused with productivity. And productivity to some just means like being very busy and doing a lot of things. But productivity and doing a lot of things does not equal success. In fact, if you look at the people who are most successful, they tend to do fewer things, but to do them the right way and to put a lot of focus and energy on those few things, because those are the few things that help them to move their business forward the most. That's being smart. Another one here, right, is just getting very clear on what those are. So what is like the most valuable work for you? A little process, a little kind of list that you can create of what that looks like for you and for your business is time well spent. Because if you start your day doing things that are low value, then you're going to typically put off the things that are the high value, again, because they're kind of uncomfortable, right? You have to venture into the zone of the unknown, and that can be scary. But if you write down and get very clear on what specific tasks, activities, initiatives are highest value for you, and you start your day with those, and you do it every single day or as often as you can, right? You're gonna feel like, wow, I'm making a lot of progress. I know that I feel that way. Once I've prioritized and I know, okay, on my list right here, like what I need to do, and that's what I focus on. And like, yes, I could be doing other things, but this one thing or these two things are highest priority. Like even if you get one thing done per day that is high value, you will feel so much better about your day because you're going to make a lot more progress. And that is what business is all about, right? It's about progress, it's about building momentum. That leads to you getting the results that you want. So one final thing here just to note about this principle is that you want to and should, I would encourage you to remove as many distractions as you can, right? The one thing that is like the enemy of getting productive work done, of like getting real work done on valuable tasks or activities is distraction. And distractions can come from your email, they can come from Skype, they can come from any notifications on your phone, they can come from going to YouTube, right? All these things can create distractions. So if you really want to prioritize and you really want to make more progress in your business and you want to accomplish more in less time, so you then have more time available to travel, to spend with loved ones and so forth, as I've been talking like a lot about, because that's what's important to me. I'm just sharing my own example. Yours might be a little bit different, but if you want to have more time for those things, then you need to make sure that when you're spending time on priority items that you're spending real concentrated, focused time. So remove those distractions, close your email and don't look at it, or only look at it at certain times. Don't have that tab open that shows 1, 2, 30, whatever, every time you have a new email come in, because your eye's gonna go to that and then you're gonna try and look at it, and that's a distraction. Right? Don't have any other browser tabs open. Make sure your phone is turned off. Make sure that your Skype can't get any kind of pings or notifications or just anything that might distract you from what you're working on. You want to remove those things and really focus on your number one priority item for that day. Even if that is something that might be hard for you or a little bit uncomfortable, put in your effort into it, because if what you're doing is really meaningful for you, if it's like a strong why, like you really want to accomplish it, then don't let distractions or even things that seem challenging or hard get in your way. You take action towards it, right? Take a step towards it. You're going to feel, first of all, really happy. Like, your self-esteem is going to go up. Your confidence is going to go up. You're going to be able to realize like, wow, yeah, I can do this. Nothing is going to stop me. And you do that once, it becomes a lot easier. You do it again, it becomes significantly easier. And you just keep doing that. Momentum builds and it snowballs, and you're going to get to a place where you're going to look back and go like, wow, I really made a lot of progress on these things, as opposed to just being all over and being distracted. So that's my offer to you here today. That's just what I've found as a principle, like that's principle number 4, that has really played a very big role in helping us to achieve this level of success and freedom that is meaningful for us. So there you have it. I hope that principle is beneficial for you. Hope that you're already implementing it, but if you're not, then a great opportunity to do so. Let me get now to principle number 5, which is sacrifices. And this is something that a lot of people don't talk about, but I think it's important to be very honest and transparent about what really goes on if you want to run a successful business. And what I have observed and what I've seen and what I've felt is that you have to make, and you have to be willing to make some sacrifices in order to achieve the level of success that you desire. So here's a few specific sacrifices that I've had to make, and they're not really big. Like, they're not crazy that you think like, whoa, wow, Michael, like you've made these amazing, so that must be so tough. They're not really tough. So as an example, when I'm in Europe and my family is, it's like late at night and they want to go out for dinner, or in some cases, like they're just going to bed, they might be in the room down the hall. Well, I'm at the kitchen table taking calls with clients or doing a group call with some of our clients, and I'm working. Why? Because the hours, right, the time zone is different, and so I want to try and keep some consistency with clients. That's a sacrifice. Another one is when I'm in Japan, I have to get up I don't have to. I choose to get up very early, and I'll often be on calls again with clients at 6 a.m. or in some cases I'm up at 5 a.m. Well, why? Because that allows us to run a business. Our clients are all around the world, but there are some things that we keep consistent so that our business is consistent. And that's a sacrifice, right? Well, what does that mean? That means that sometimes I can't go out to an event, or I can't go to have a drink with some friends. I have to have an earlier night because the next day I have to get up very early to accommodate that. That's a sacrifice. It's not a big one. It's not a crazy one, but it's a sacrifice. Other times, like I remember when we were in Costa Brava in Spain, right, just a little bit north of Barcelona, my daughter and my wife wanted to go to the beach and to play. And I wanted to go, I'd love to go with them at that time, but I also had to get some work done. Well, that's a sacrifice, but it's not a big sacrifice in the scheme of things because I know they're going to go now, and I'm going to join them. Like I remember when I was in Tel Aviv in Israel, same thing. They wanted to go to the beach, and so they went, and I had to do a bit of work, but an hour or two later, I joined them. So it's small sacrifices, but these are things that I think sometimes, even when you're like in your own local area, right? When you're at home, you have to make some sacrifices. You might have friends that say, hey, can we meet for a coffee? Can we meet for lunch? Can we meet for a beer or whatever it might be? Different things that call upon your attention, and you need to have, I need to have, but I want to encourage you to also maybe consider that having some restraint or just prioritizing or just kind of deciding what you need to sacrifice in order to achieve what you want. I know when I was much younger running my first business, many kids, friends that were going to different parties or were going out a lot more, I wasn't. And I chose not to because I was focused on my early businesses. So looking back, like maybe, I would have enjoyed spending a bit more time playing. But when I look at what I've been able to achieve because of that focus and that dedication, the sacrifices I made, it was well worth it. So this all has to be played. Like I'm not suggesting by any means that you sacrifice time with your family or that you sacrifice things that are really important, but having a balance, I think is critical. And so principle here, number 5, that has allowed us to run a successful consulting business and still travel and have plenty of free time and freedom to spend with loved ones and family and to do the things that we want is sacrifices, right? You make a small sacrifice for a much bigger return. The impact you have from doing something small is significantly larger, and that's, I think, a principle that has served us very well, and so I wanted to share that with you. This is the 6th principle I'm going to share with you. I've gone over already the other 5, but this is the last one, and this really kind of like brings everything together. This is a really important principle, or at least point that I've followed, that we follow within our company, and it's made such a big difference for us. And here's what it is. It might sound simple, but it's really critical for success. Principle number 6 is decisions, and here's what I mean by it. Being very clear on what you want to do, what you will do, what you won't do, having a filter that you can use or criteria that you can use to make decisions strategically, like applying kind of critical thinking or taking in different opportunities that come your way and knowing whether or not it matches the criteria that you've set helps you to make better decisions. Right? So if you want to achieve something specific and you know that it means you have to not do certain things, when an opportunity comes your way, you can decide very quickly, does this match? You can ask yourself, does this match the criteria that I've set out? No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Yes, no. And then you can decide whether it's a go for you or a no-go. But this has been really important for us. The second part of decisions is the difference between being committed and being interested. So there's a lot of things that I think many of us are interested in, right? We look at some opportunity or something that we want to achieve and we go like, yeah, this kind of seems interesting. You do some reading online about it. Maybe you get a book, maybe you go to like a conference or a seminar about it. And you take in a lot of information about it, but you don't actually act on it. Well, that's being interested. And there's nothing wrong with being interested in certain things, but being committed is different. If you want to really be successful, you have to be committed to what you're doing. And being committed means taking action, not just absorbing information, but actually taking action. And my observation is that in order to take action, you have to remove a lot of potential things that you could do to get very clear on what's going to really make the difference and then take action on that. Another part of decisions is a decision to play big, right? To think bigger. Whether that means that you're used to selling like $5,000 offerings, and now all of a sudden you start selling 25,000 or 100,000 or $1 million service offerings. But most of what we do as people, like most of us are very focused on just getting something done, which is good. But my observation and experience has shown me that it takes almost the same amount of energy and time and effort and infrastructure to achieve whatever this is here, and to achieve something that is all the way up here. Like, so if you think bigger, then you can often get a much bigger result without putting in a lot more work. But you need to decide to do that. If you always just decide to kind of stay where you are, to play small, you're going to stay there and you're not going to see big results. But if you decide to play bigger, to think bigger, to act bigger, you will start seeing bigger and better results. And I'm not talking about just bigger in terms of making a lot more money to go and buy a Ferrari that you can sit on in your driveway and take a picture of yourself and put on Instagram, right? I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is thinking bigger in terms of what you want to achieve, the impact that you want to have, being able to spend more time with loved ones, traveling the world, like whatever it is that's meaningful for you. That's what I'm talking about, thinking bigger. And of course, bigger finances in terms of income and benefit from a revenue perspective also is attached to that. So the other and kind of, I guess, final decision point here of this sixth principle, which is decisions, is to stay away from complexity. Stay away from complicated business models. Stay away from all the noise and hype in the marketplace. Be very clear, become very clear on what is meaningful for you, what is important to you, so that you can truly realize your own potential. Making that decision will allow you to actually start to achieve it, to make progress towards it, to generate more momentum. Following these principles, so I've outlined 6 different principles for you, right? Starting off with a simplified business model, then with having team and support, then getting the right systems and processes in place, then with prioritization. And next, we talked about making sacrifices, and this is the final one around decisions. So I hope that these principles will benefit you. I know that they've really allowed us to create a highly profitable business that has given us the ability to travel the world, has allowed me to spend a lot of time with my family and loved ones and do what's meaningful for me. So I hope this has been beneficial for you. Let me know in the comments below, or if you have any questions, I'm happy to share even more detail around any of these points. And the other thing I'll just say is if you're looking for some help in this area, I mean, if you would like help to productize your service offering, or to find ways to scale your consulting business further, just to develop your consulting business further, then reach out. I'll put a link in the video here or somewhere around this video that you can get some more information about how we work with consultants to help them to grow their consulting businesses and really to achieve the kind of lifestyle and impact and financial success as well that we've had. So I'd be happy to do that. Just reach out and we can share more information or provide you with more information. But again, I hope these principles have been beneficial to you. Let me know if they have, or if you have any other questions. All right, have a great day. Take care.